All right, so we are back. We showed you how to utilize an ARM template, Azure Bicep. I want to show you another way to do infrastructure as code that's very popular, and it's with a third-party technology called Terraform. Super popular because Terraform can work with every single cloud provider, and it's simply the most popular IAC tool. And it doesn't get a whole lot of attention with Azure, so I figured we should throw that in here because you're most likely to encounter it on the job, as Azure Bicep and ARM templates aren't used as much as Terraform, surprisingly. So what I want to do is go over to GitHub, and we're going to make another repo. If it will let me see where that button is. Sometimes it's a bit funny, so I'll go to the top right corner, create a new repo. There's lots of ways to create repos in here. I'm going to go to Exam Pro. I'm going to make sure I type Azure right this time. We'll say Azure Terraform example. I'm making mine public. You can make yours private. Again, it's better for you to make it private because that way you won't expose information by accident. And not sure why this looks a little bit different. Maybe GitHub just changed something on me, but what we'll do, because there used to be like a code button here. Maybe because I didn't create the README, that's why. Normally you're supposed to have a README. I'm going to go ahead and just click that button to create the README. Commit that. And oh, unexpected. What are you talking about? Well, now it is here, so I think GitHub is just having some hiccups. Anyway, we have a code button here. We'll go ahead and create our code spaces. And we'll launch that up. And we're going to have to go install the Terraform CLI. So I'm going to look up Terraform CLI install. And we'll go to the HashiCorp website. HashiCorp is what makes Terraform. And somewhere in here, they'll have one for Linux. We'll go over here. And we need to follow these commands here. Very straightforward. Not a one-line command, but they have additional commands here for security purposes. So this environment's open. Let's go to the bottom left corner, and we'll pick out a nicer theme. We'll choose a GitHub Dark. I'll just bump up the font a little bit. And we'll go back over to here, and we'll copy the installation commands. So we're copying the first one here. We'll say allow. Okay, we'll try this again. And it is not letting me copy paste. Sometimes you got to go up to this clipboard, make sure it allows. It is on continue. Copy. Right click, there we go. And this is going to install. Usually it's good practice to do an update on your packages. We didn't do that for the Azure CLI, but very common practice on Linux to do that. So that's what they're doing first. Then we'll go over here and we will grab the GPG key. GPG is a security key that does something. This output is normal. You should be seeing this. Why it prints it like that, I don't know, but I know it's okay. You can ignore it. We will paste in the next one. And that one was weird. That didn't look right. So I'll try this one more time. Paste it again. Hit enter. Oh, I had to hit Control C. When you see this, like this here, it usually means it's expecting more input. So I had to do Control C on my keyboard. That's when that shows up. So I'm going to try that one more time. I think what it did was when I hit up, it brought in that stuff. So we'll go back over here. I know it's a bit finicky. It's a bit frustrating. And so this looks normal. This is what I want. It's confirming the key. So so download the key and then verify its fingerprint. And then the next thing we can do is this will install the source for HashiCorp, so it can actually install the package. And notice that sometimes when you copy paste, you get some funny stuff. So you got to be really careful with your copy paste. Okay, I'm just going to type clear here. I'm going to try this again. Copy, right click, paste. There we go. Okay, so now it's acting normally. You know, I've been coding for 20 years and copy and paste gets me all the time. It's not much you can do about it. Now we can go ahead and install it. So I know that's a lot of steps. We probably could have just ran this and it probably would have worked. Okay. Also notice here, it accidentally downloaded this weird file. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Not sure why it did that, but make sure you don't end up with junk files by accident. So now Terraform's installed. So Terraform, the way it works is you have the Terraform command. We hit enter here. I recently did a Terraform bootcamp, so Terraform is fresh in my mind, whereas you notice Azure Bicep was a bit more rusty. But we'll go ahead and make a main.tf file. That is how we create a Terraform file. We'll go to extensions on the left-hand side. There's probably a Terraform extension. And here is one. There's this one and this one. This one is by Anton, and I know Anton. He's super nice. And then we also have the official one. We'll go with the official one here today. Sorry, Anton. Don't get upset with me. They're both great. I just chose the official one for this video demonstration. Anton maintains the Terraform modules for AWS and a lot of other stuff, so he's very good at Terraform. But now that we have this installed, it should give us some syntax highlighting and auto completion. And so what we need to do is we need to get some code. Now, the reason I like Azure Bicep is because it really does generate everything in place, but with Terraform, you have to do a little bit of work. We're going to type in Terraform registry, and this is where we can find everything. So here, it's the registry.terraform.io, and we're going to go to providers. Providers is our established connection to our specific provider. We're going to choose Azure. And in here, in the top right corner, they have this purple button, and it's going to give us the code that we need to start working with. We're going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to go over here, back to our code, and we'll paste it into our main TF file. So what this is going to do, it's going to say install the Azure RM provider so that we can interact with Azure through Terraform, and then we can configure Azure down here below. Normally the way it works for configuration, if we go to documentation, it'll tell us on the first page, how do we establish a connection? So we can authenticate using the Azure CLI, which is something that we have done. We can also use a managed service or a service principal. So, I mean, the Azure CLI is the easiest way to do it. At some point, you will have to learn how to create a service principal. So I kind of want to do that. Like, that's kind of what I'm preferred to do at this stage here. But I have to make sure that this makes sense. So service principal and client secret. So this would be with a password. So let's click into this one. And I'm just trying to see where the syntax is here. I'm just looking at the code. So first log into here, create RBAC. No, I'll just do it the easy way. I won't make it too complicated for everybody here. I'll just use the Azure CLI. So what we'll do is we'll need to go ahead and install the Azure CLI. So you probably know it by this routine now. So we'll go Azure CLI install, and we'll go over here, and we'll go down, and we'll go to the Ubuntu Debian, and we'll scroll on down, grab this single line, go back over to code spaces, which is here. We'll drag this up. We'll go ahead and paste this in, and we'll hit enter, and that will install us the Azure CLI. Won't take too long, but it will get installed here in a moment. And so I'm thinking that if the CLI is installed, it should automatically, or it should already know how to deploy. So while that is installing, let's go back over to the Terraform registry, and we'll look at trying to launch something in Azure. So if we click back, and we go back to the documentation, it has all the resources here on the left-hand side. So we've been doing storage accounts quite a bit here, so I'm just going to look for that on the left-hand side there. So we'll type in storage here, and we'll go into storage. And in here, I'm looking for a storage account. So it's right here. And we have some example code. So this is going to create us a resource group and then a storage account. So we'll copy this code, and we'll bring it on over to here, and we'll just paste it on below. I'm going to have to jump this down a couple sizes here so I can see what I'm doing. And so we'll paste that on in there. And so now we have our resource group with a logical name of example. I'm going to rename this to be something other than this. So we'll say my Terraform RG. I don't want West Europe. I want something in North America. West US? Is that what it would be? I'm not sure if this will actually autocomplete for me. If it messes up, it'll throw an error. We need to give this a name, so we will provide some name here. We're not doing complex Terraform. Of course, you can pass in parameters with separate files and variables. We didn't do that with Bicep either. That's something we would do at a more advanced level. But let's go ahead and change this name here, and we'll put something else in. So we'll say my storage account, a bunch of numbers, and then AB. Okay, so this should work. Replication doesn't need to be on RGS, but that's still fine. It's a standard. That's fine, I guess. We have some tags. We don't need tags, but that's fine. So now what we want to do is go down below here, and we'll have to do an AZ login. Sorry, I meant to say AZ login -- use device code. Okay, and so we'll have to go to this address down below, and we'll open it on one of these other tabs we don't care about, and we'll go back here and grab the code. We'll say next, and we'll click this, and we'll say continue. Great, we'll go back over to here. And so we have Azure Cloud. We are now logged in. So we should be able to deploy to Terraform. It should know that we're going to deploy to that subscription. Remember earlier we checked the that Azure file in our Azure config. I'm just going to show you really quickly. ~/.azure tab, and we're going to look in the config directory. It wasn't that one. Maybe it was something else. Clouds config. And that's how it knows what subscription it's going to target. Where those credential files are, somewhere in that folder, we still don't know. And the terminal's kind of messing up here. There we go. I had to just kind of wiggle it to get it to act normally. And so what I want to do is type a Terraform init. So that's going to install the Terraform plugins, the actual Azure provider, for us to establish a connection. I'm going to type a Terraform plan. That's how you determine if your plan will work. It says insufficient feature blocks. At least one features block are required. What the heck is a features block? I don't remember there being one there before. Maybe it just wants us to remove the configuration completely. Let's see if that works. Nope, it wants it. So we'll go back here. I don't remember there being a features block before, but again, things change all the time on me here. And so we'll go back to the provider. It doesn't show anything here. Go back to the documentation, features. The features block allow configuration behavior for the Azure provider. For more information, go to the dedicated page. Sounds good to me. And here it says, this allows different users to select behaviors they require. For example, some users may wish to use the OS disk virtual machine, while others might want to do other stuff. So here it looks like you're supposed to have a features block, and then there are some settings you can set, additional settings. So that's kind of cool. I don't remember that before, but let's just give it empty features because I don't really want to do anything fancy. Okay, we'll go ahead and save. And we'll say Terraform plan. We'll give it a moment here. It's thinking. It's really thinking. That's a good thing, right? It usually doesn't take this long. What is going on here? I'll be back in a moment, okay? All right, so I thought there might be an issue with it, but we had to wait a very long time. It says insufficient feature blocks. So at least one features blocks are required. So I guess there's no way around it. We have to include a feature. So I guess I'll carefully look here and figure out what it wants. So here's all possible features. They say they're all optional, then why do I have to why do I have to provide one if they're all optional? Okay, well, if there was one that we're going to do, let's go ahead and grab the resource group because we are using it. We are technically creating a resource group. So maybe that's a good idea to have that one in there. Really surprised that we have to, but whatever. So it says prevent deletion if contains resource. False. I mean, you might want it true, but the thing is, we're doing this temporarily, and I want to be able to tear things down, and I don't want to have any prevention on. So we'll go ahead and try Terraform plan again. Maybe it'll be faster. That'd be really nice. And we did do what it asked us to do, so. And again, I'm going to spare you the waiting. I'm just going to pause. Oh, nope, there we go. So what it's done is it's saying, and I'll just zoom out a bit more so it's a bit easier, or zoom back. So the way it works is when you run it, it's going to say, yeah, we are going to create these resources. See those pluses? That's what it's going to go ahead and create. And there might be even more than what you expect there to be. But nope, it's good. So now that we're ready, we can go ahead and do a Terraform apply. Terraform apply. It's going to ask us to confirm. It'll say like yes or no. We'll definitely say yes. We'll give it a moment. Okay. Other providers like AWS and GCP are a lot more responsive. I think it's just the time it takes to go talk to Azure. We'll type in yes. We'll give it a moment here. Again, it's thinking. And it's creating the resources. Great. So I'll be back here when it's done. It might just take a couple of minutes. Might take 30 seconds, but I'll be back when it is created. All right, so like about a minute it took to create. So what we'll do is we'll go take a look at, and by the way, we really don't want to leave this. You really want to stick with this and after we deploy it so we can tear it down, because the state file is all here. So when you use ARM, Azure ARM templates, and Bicep, which just produces ARM templates, the state of the infrastructure is on the cloud provider. So Azure has the Azure Resource Manager, and it stores some kind of state file. You don't see it. We don't know what format it's in. But with Terraform, because it is an agnostic provider, it stores the state file here. Now, we could use Terraform Cloud, which has a free tier, and we could put it up there. But for our purpose, we just have it in here. You do not want to commit this ever to your repo. It could have sensitive information in it. So just be aware of that. In fact, we should have an ignore file in here so that we're not running into problems. So I'm going to go ahead here and just type in .git ignore. It's probably the first thing we should have done, but sometimes we do things out of order here. Git ignore Terraform. So we'll just go grab that because it'll give us the best stuff. GitHub has a recommended ignore file. We'll go ahead and copy that. And we'll go back here and paste this in here and save it. And that way, that state file will not be part of the source code. So notice it's not going to commit it, but the lock file will be there, which is fine. Let's go over to Azure and make sure that that resource was created. So if we go to storage accounts, we have an additional one there, my storage account, etc. It's there. So it's there. So if we were to lose that state file, we would actually have to manually delete the resource group because it would no longer be able to track it. But we do have the state file here. And so we can go ahead and delete those resources. So we'll go ahead and type in Terraform, destroy, and we'll hit enter. And that will tear down Terraform, okay? We'll give it a moment. It's just thinking. It is thinking real hard. There we go. We'll type in yes, and we'll have to wait for it to destroy the resource. I'll see you back here when it's done destroying, okay? All right, so after a short little wait there, that stuff has been torn down. I'm going to go ahead and commit these files. So changes, we'll just make a quick commit message there. We'll sync those changes. We'll say okay. Make sure those changes get pushed. If you need to look at my code, it's going to be in that repo. So just go back and look for it on the GitHub exam pro co, Azure Bicep example. Yeah, we're good there. Let's make sure we just turn off this workspace here. So we'll say stop. Okay. And we have now stopped this workspace. We are in good shape, and we'll see you in the next one, okay?